Guys, today we have a 2004 Toyota Highlander. This car had an issue with the heat, and we checked quite a bit of little things such as the blend door motor. We checked for the little sensor inside which monitors the temperature of the cabin air. It was a little dirty. We cleaned it up, but we also checked coolant, and coolant was very low in this radiator. And I just want to put my leg straight so I can show you guys. We opened this cap up. The coolant we was able to flash the light in there, and you could see the fins of this radiator inside up to like that level. And since this is low on the antifreeze, this pipe is very high, so it's not gonna have a lot of coolant in the system to give you heat. And I also want to show you guys, you see that pipe right there, that pipe running across, that goes straight to the heater core. That's even on a higher level than the radiator itself. So this car needs to maintain a good amount of coolant to give you good heat. And if you don't have that level in there of the coolant, it's not gonna give you heat. So we put antifreeze in this thing, and the heat worked good. I drove it home last night, and I did notice yesterday the wet spot all the way down there. I'm gonna go down, take the light down there and take it and show you. And I put pressure in this thing with the pressure tool, and it showed me no leak. But I drove the car and I wanted to make sure if there's any leak or not. But if you go down here now, you can see there's a lot of leakage, and there's a drip coming down from that radiator at this moment. So this is leaking, and the car heats up, I guess, and the seals probably get soft, and that's when it leaks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this radiator. We're gonna replace this radiator, and to replace this radiator, first you're gonna drain the antifreeze. Once it finishes draining, we're gonna remove all this, the hoses, the reservoir, the cap. This has bolts for the reservoir down here. It has a radiator bolts that holds the radiator down. Those are the ones that you're gonna have to get from this angle and remove this top cover. And if you go across, you'll see a lot of transmission lines. This is a transmission line, that's a transmission line. Take these out, make sure you don't make a big mess or a big spill. There's a radiator hose here, and then you got bolts here. And we're also gonna take out this the fan shroud, and there's a bolt all the way down there for the radiator, which is similar to this one and the one I showed you on the other end, which are from this angle. All right, so we're gonna do this step by step and show you everything. All right guys, so first what we're gonna do is we're gonna locate this. This is a drainer for the radiator, and we're gonna put a little pipe on it. So there might be a cover underneath here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a pipe and drain the antifreeze. We have another picture here. So this is the radiator right here, right to the left side of the car, which will be the left side of the radiator also. We're looking at the filter here, and right under it you have the radiator drain plug. And also you have this little drainer in the engine. See the engine drain plug? This will drain all the antifreeze from inside the block. So first we're gonna drain the antifreeze from this right here, and then we'll move on to instructions of how to remove this radiator. So if you look at the instruction of how to remove a radiator, it's pointing at the upper hose, lower hose. You got the transmission lines, you got the drainer there. So we're gonna remove all these hoses, and also you got the fan strut is probably held in by like 1 or 2 bolts, and this little reservoir for the antifreeze is held in by 1 bolt or 2 bolts. And then we're gonna have, you see these points right here, these circles? This is where the radiator is held in by. And if you look at right in front of the car, right through the bumper, you'll see a number 12 bolt here, there, and there. So it's 4 bolts, and then you could lift up the radiator and remove the radiator. Alright, so guys, I'm under the car. I have attached this little pipe to that drainer right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn that. All you do is you turn this thing, and antifreeze should start coming out from this hose very soon. I'm going to make a few turns. There you go. Antifreeze has started to come out. And we're gonna let this thing drain and empty out the radiator. Sometimes you can open it more a little bit. Make sure you remove the radiator cap if this car does not have a pressure, because if you don't, it's gonna slow down. Let me go up. I'm gonna remove the radiator cap and it should start coming out more. What I'll do is I'll take out this radiator cap here. That's gonna release the pressure. Now you can see it has a better flow. Alright, so let's give it a good 10-20 minutes. We'll keep an eye on this so this doesn't overflow. And then meanwhile, we'll take off some stuff from the top. Alright guys, while the antifreeze is draining, what we'll do is we'll remove this cover on the top. It has a lot of clips. Some of these clips, they never come off, they break, that's fine. Whatever you can save, you know, save it. And you're gonna need these to put everything back together again. So this thing has about like 10 clips all around maybe. So I'll just save these on top of this battery here. Sometimes it can be hard to take out these clips, but see if you can get a tool, that clip removing tool. And I'm gonna point the camera a little bit that way now. Alright, that fell down, we'll get that out of there. I think I have all the clips out now, and what I'll do is put my tool there, and you can lift this out. This cover should just come right out. Once you have this cover removed, you should have a better access to this, everything down here, and plus you have a couple of bolts for the radiator that are going across from right here down here. And we're gonna wait till this thing drains out, and then we're gonna. All right, so we're gonna remove this pipe here. And then we're gonna remove the lower radiator hose from right here, and we're gonna detach it and push it down this way. So use the needle nose plier and to remove these clamps. Just push the clamp back, and then we can push the hose out. You want to be careful, you don't want to damage the hose. So we're gonna leave this hose, push it, just put it right here, just let it go. Just stick it to the side somewhere, and now what we can do is, this is full of antifreeze. Even though we drained it, it's not gonna suck nothing from here. So we're gonna remove the number 10 here, and there's a number 10 on the opposite end over here, and this reservoir should come off. And there's number 10 here also. So it's 3 bolts holding this down. Alright, so when you have one left, what you have to do is hold it. Remove the last bolt. We're also going to take this and put it away because we're going to take out the fan short and push it back a little bit. Right, there we go. We have that out of the way. Alright, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the 2 little screws on top of this cover, and we're gonna push this cover off and just leave it somewhere to the side. And then we can remove the number 10 on this fan shroud here, and there should be one on the opposite end, and this fan shroud should lift up a little bit from the bottom clamps, and we can push it back. Alright, now we'll take off this number 10 here. And there should be one on the opposite end. He's gonna remove that from the opposite end, and then I'll help him lift up this fan short. And you can see this little clamp up where it sits at in the bottom. It sits like that on both sides, so you just gotta yank it up a little bit. Let me know when you're ready. There you go. And then we can just push it back. It's not gonna give you a lot of room, just enough so the radiator can free play and come out. That's it. That's it. That's enough. Handy. That's it. Alright, so now we're gonna go on the opposite side, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in the bottom. I'm gonna close that drainer. Remember this drainer? I'm gonna close this drainer out. There, I have the drainer closed. We're gonna be careful from this antifreeze. We're gonna put this antifreeze somewhere to the side, and then we're gonna remove the radiator hose from right here, and we're gonna remove these 2 little transmission lines. Alright, so we'll remove these 2 little hoses. You have to get it straight. You have to grab both ears. Alright, we'll remove the bottom one first. No, wait. We're gonna do the same thing from the bottom. We're gonna remove the clamp. We're gonna remove the bottom one first, because if you remove the top first, it'll drip on you from the bottom. And there we go. We have the clamp off. So what we'll do is we'll get that hose out of there. So this got transmission fluid on it. You want to be careful. You want to stick something in the hose. We usually use a little bolt that stops the leak. What we'll do is we'll put a rag down there. Put a rag down there so it stops dripping. Remove the upper hose for the radiator fluid that comes into the radiator to cool down. Alright, there we have the second hose, and we're gonna just leave it like that to the side. Alright, next what we'll do is we'll remove the radiator hose from the thermostat housing. Alright, so this hose is gonna come out with the radiator because we cannot reach down there to detach it from the radiator, so we're gonna lift it up with the radiator. Alright, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some clearance here, and we're gonna take out the 4 bolts that's holding the radiator down. Alright, so from right here we can reach out the number 12 all the way in there. We're gonna have to it might be spinning from the other end. Let's see if there's a nut on the other end. Do it.
Nothing.
Let me know when you have it on. Yeah, it's spinning. Alright, you see it spinning, do it. Do it again. Alright, it's spinning. Alright, give me that plier. I'm gonna hold it with the plier. It's right there. So what I'll do is I'll hold the bolt. Go ahead. One more time, go. Nope, it's too tight. Let me match up a wrench on that and then we'll come right back. Alright, so I'll put a wrench on that. Gas, slowly do it. There we go, we have one out. You don't want to lose this piece here. Yeah, let me get this off. I have it, remember I have it here, right? Alright, we got one over here, go ahead. Alright, usually it's supposed to, did it come off? Alright, check this out. Second one. Alright, you see the radiator's moving already. Now we're gonna go on the opposite end. Let me come on this end. Huh?
The both from these from the bottom, the roof are off.
They should come off. All right. You see it?
I was gonna see. There, right.
Get it on, and then once he has that extension in there, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna hold it again.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You wanna go ahead?
Go ahead. It's out. All right, the top one.
That's it?
Yeah. All right, the top one is right here. We can see it easily over here. And number 12, right there. All right. And I'll hold it from the back. That's it. That's it. All right, so we have everything loose. Usually these supposed to stick in there. You don't want to loosen them. What we'll do is I'll help them take this radiator out.
The bottom balls.
They're out. Don't worry, they're gonna stay in there. Just push it back. We got one bolt stuck back there. Alright, so if you can get a help from somebody, and all you have to do is simply lift this radiator out of there, and it should come right out. And on that end, you have to guide that hose out of there. The hose. Make the hose come out with it.
Go. It's an awful mess, that's it. Ain't done. Go down.
It's not me, it's your side that has to go down. Alright, so you gotta work a little bit and not hurt yourself. This fan shroud is bothering us a little bit, so we're gonna try to get it out of the way. Come on that side. Let's see what's. There we go. Keep it straight. And we had the radiator out, and it was leaking from right here. Right here, this edges. It was leaking from the edge, from down here, and from right here. All right, so we're gonna put this. So we have a new radiator here, and we need to get the little mount for this radiator. It doesn't have the mount, so we gotta take the old ones off. You also want to make sure this drainer is closed, all right? Because you don't want to depend on that the parts department, the parts people, they locked it down. So make sure you do yourself. So we'll get these. You just pull it off the old one and stick it back on this one. And here's a little housing for the shard, fan shard. Alright, so we're gonna get that, and we're gonna put this radiator back in the car. Alright, so we got the mounts in there. All the mounts are in there. We got this hose in there also. There's a mount there, a mount there. So we're gonna take this over to the car now. Alright, we got the radiator. I'm gonna grab one end, you grab one end. We're gonna guide this slowly. You don't wanna hit the fins anywhere. You don't wanna damage anything. So slowly go down there. The front piece of the mount, we're gonna get that out of there. Let's just get this radiator to go down just like that. All right, 1 second. Alright, so we got one of the bolts in there. We got the radiator sitting, and we'll do one in the bottom. And in the bottom you might gonna need help, so one person can push the bolt in, the other one can put the nut on the other end, which is this one right here. So this one is on there, and can you pass me that wrench so I'll hold it for you? So we're gonna try to get this couple of threads on this. I'm gonna leave it there for now, and we're gonna go one in the bottom. Alright, good. I'll put the light in. So he's gonna try to get the socket in there, and from this end I can see the nut. Trying to put it in? No, okay. Alright, he has it almost in there. What we'll do is we'll put extension. He has the bolt in there, so yeah, it's in there. Let me grab my, 1 second, I gotta grab this. Tight to the spot, but maybe the camera's not gonna catch this. The bolt on there, the nut on the bolt. It's a tight spot, but go ahead. He's gonna turn it a little bit. There you go. It's snugged in. That's it. We're gonna go on the other end. Now we're on this side. This side is a little easier to see. So what we'll do is we'll put one bolt right through here, which is this one right here. And once it's right through, pull it up. Nope. I'm gonna hand him the little nut. Put the nut on.
Is it right?
Alright, we're gonna snug this a little bit. That's it, that's good enough. Alright, we're gonna do the one in the bottom now. After that we can tighten them all four. Bottom one is in a little slot, so it's hard to get it in there and hard to see. We're gonna try to put that bolt in there. Goes right through that hole. And it's out from the other end. So what I'll do is I'll grab that little nut that goes on it and I'll put that on by hand. We're gonna tighten this side up and lock this side up. Okay. Alright, that one's tight. We're gonna do the one on the top. Go ahead. That's it. We got that. Let me walk right through.
The bottom?
And we'll do the bottom one first. Go ahead. Go back. My wrench is stuck. Go back a little bit. That's it. It's done. Now what I'm going to do on top. Alright, we're done there. So the radiator is locked in. What we'll do next is we'll put the radiator short back in its place. We'll lift it up. Once you have it lined, it should just stick in there. Is it stuck in there?
I don't see nothing. Here, I need the light.
Here, take the light out of my hand. The light. We got the fan short in place. We're putting the bolts in there, which goes down here. Let me grab the light. We'll tighten these up, and then we'll put the transmission lines back in spot. There's one over there, and then there's one over here. That's it. Just tight enough so it holds. There we go. Alright, what we'll do next is we're gonna put the radiator hoses back in, put the clamps in there.
So we can cut this.
You don't need to.
You hear the fan.
No, I won't. You gotta angle it. Make sure all the clamps are tight. So this is a clamp with a number 8mm bolt on it. Just enough. Alright, so we have that. Alright, now we can put the lower transmission line and then the upper. We're going to remove the bolt that we stuck in there to hold the fluid in spot. There's one, you're going to have to move that clamp. Make sure you put the clamps back on, because if you don't, it's going to shoot out all the fluid. It's good. Bottom hose, and we're going to put the top hose in. We're going to remove the little screw we had in there to stop the fluid from leaking out. Now we can put the upper transmission line and make sure you put the clamp back in. There we go. Just make sure that the connection is secured. And you also want to check, spin this fan, spin it, and make sure no hoses, nothing is hitting here. So you want to do that, and then we're going to come over and we're going to finish out this side. We're going to put the reservoir in. We're going to put the coolant reservoir back into place. So this uses a 3 number 10, one he have in his hand. I have 2 here. When you tighten this, just make sure they're tight. Don't just cramp it in, because that will make the plastic snap off. Just soft, hand tight, nothing too tight. We're gonna put the hose back in there. This is the hose. It will, if it needs extra antifreeze, it will suck from the reservoir. And then we got the upper radiator hose. Make sure you put that in. Make sure you put that clamp back in there. So we're gonna take this clamp, squeeze it, and push it in there. There you go. We got it back right in the same spot it was at. It has a little grooves where it made before, so that's the best way to grab the clamp, the hose by clamp from the same spot. Alright, so we're done pretty much here. We got the reservoir closed, we got the upper hose with the bottom hose. We're gonna put the top cover in, and then we're gonna put the antifreeze. And then we're done here. We'll put the antifreeze and let the car run. We'll double check the antifreeze level after it runs for a little while, and make sure you put the cap on once you're done filling up the antifreeze. And also there's a cover that we took off from here. Put that back together. This is the cover right here. And that cover has a few clamps which I left on the battery over there. There we have it in place. So a couple of clips and that's it, it's done. There's one here. It's not in there properly. There you go. So there's one here, one over there, and there's a whole bunch on the top. And we're done. We'll put antifreeze on this car and let it run for a little while. And make sure you remove all of your tools.